It is Kieran Trippier. It is delicious! Glorious! Glorious!
Walker in there too. Luke Shaw! Harry Kane wants it played into him. He chooses Grealish instead. It's Grealish! It's Kane! I think like this has happened for a long time. Here's the overhead kick from Bellingham. Palmer finds Watkins. Watkins turns! Watkins scores!
Hello and welcome back to the Gate 102 podcast. I hope you're doing well and thank you for tuning in again. Always is appreciated. And thank you to everyone who listened to my last episode where I spoke about England's 1-0 defeat to Denmark in the Nations League. Obviously it was a tough night for Southgate's men with 2 red cards and it was the first defeat in over a year, but still a game worth talking about. So if you haven't yet listened to that one, please do. It's available on all podcast platforms, along with the rest of the episode so far. Now moving on, the Nations League action was put to a hold as England's next game following that Denmark defeat was a friendly against the Republic of Ireland at Wembley. And this gave Southgate another chance to sort of experiment, rotate and give some players a much needed opportunity. And actually, as we're talking about England versus Ireland, although I wasn't alive at the time, I was doing some research about sort of past occasions between the two teams. And I only recently found out about the match back in 1995 in Dublin, where the game was abandoned after just 27 minutes because of trouble in the crowd. Ireland had actually gone 1-0 up through David Kelly, but sections of the crowd started to cause trouble and the referee forced to take players off the pitch and the match never restarted for obvious reasons. So I must admit I had no idea about this until I was researching old games between the two teams, because I always look at previous meetings when I'm doing an episode just out of curiosity more than anything. But yeah, that was surprising to read. And if any listeners were at the game or know more about it, as obviously I was not alive back then, please let me know, as I only found out about this incident just recently. Anyway, back to the friendly at Wembley in 2020, and obviously there couldn't be any crowd trouble. There was no fans there due to COVID, so that made things a lot smoother. But starting with the England team, Nick Pope started in goal, Jordan Pickford being given a rest. The back three, right to left, of Michael Keane, Harry Maguire and Tyrone Mings. The right wing back was Reece James, and he was allowed to play with this game being a friendly. So his red card against Denmark didn't pass through to this game. So he was on the right, and Bukayo Saka once again doing a job at left wing back. It was then 2 midfield of Harry Winks and Mason Mount. Obviously, Winks would have been playing slightly deeper of the two, allowing Mount to push forward and support the final third. And then in attack, Southgate went with a front three of Jadon Sancho on the right, Jack Grealish got another start on the left, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin leading the line through the middle. So it was almost a 3-4-3 for England. That's something we never really saw too often under Southgate, but it included wing-backs and wingers, so England clearly utilising the width of the pitch to break Ireland down. And as for Ireland, Stephen Kenny was their manager, and they were still in transition as he'd taken over from Mick McCarthy. So we were still a bit unsure of what they would be like, how they would play, because he'd only been in charge for a few games. So there was a lot of uncertainty, I suppose, as to how Ireland would play and what they'd be like. But the game started really well from England's point of view. We were playing really fluid, lots of movement in attack. It was a really positive start from Southgate's team. Just 18 minutes into the game, England got their deserved lead. A powerful header from Harry Maguire, who converted inside the 18-yard box. A very good cross from Harry Winks. England were in the lead. And it was great for Maguire because he of course had that disastrous red card against Denmark in his last game. So it was great to see him score in this game, and he'd clearly been going through a lot off the pitch as well as on it. But I think this goal was really important for him, and it allowed him to put that Denmark game behind him and just get back on track. So yeah, really good moment for Maguire. He was wearing the captain's armband as well, so it was almost extra special. And it's funny because he took the lead, and just 8 minutes after he scored, he almost scored again. A really powerful header from a corner this time, but it was well saved by Darren Randolph, who was the goalkeeper for Ireland. A really good save, tipping it over the crossbar. But Maguire became very close to making it 2 goals for himself and 2 goals for England. But it certainly was not long until England doubled their lead, and that came half an hour into the game. And it was Jadon Sancho who scored to make it 2-0 to England. And this was a really good goal. Jack Grealish found a pocket of space, which he's so good at doing, and then sort of played Sancho in down the left. And he cut in on his right foot and fired it into the bottom corner. The thing I love about this goal is the link up between Grealish and Sancho, and that was something we saw in this game. Both players had a really good understanding of each other. And this is actually Sancho's first England goal since the 5-3 win against Kosovo at St Mary's Park back in September 2019. So over a year since he last scored, but to be fair, COVID probably had a part to play in that. But one stat I did find, because you know how much I love my stats, Jadon Sancho became the first player to score for England at Wembley while playing for a non-English club since Steve McManaman against Luxembourg in September 1999. Yeah, that's one for any listeners who remember that game back in 1999. Bit of trivia for you. But Sancho was another really good performer in this game, and it was great to see him be rewarded with a goal as well. But for me, I think the standout performer in that first half was Jack Grealish. I mean, he was just everywhere. Every time England went forward, he was involved, carrying the ball, drawing fouls, linking up play. It just felt like he brought something different to the team, that sort of creativity that England sometimes lacked. So he really took his opportunity. He was a player that England fans were sort of falling in love with at this point. And as I mentioned, he got an assist for Sancho's goal, and that made it 2 assists in his last 2 England games. So it was a brilliant start to his international career. So England were 2-0 up, and at half-time, with us winning so comfortably, Southgate decided to bring on Dean Henderson, who replaced Nick Pope in between the sticks. And it's funny because Henderson's a player I've got a lot of time for, because you may or may not know, but I'm a Stockport County fan. They're my club team. And I remember watching Dean Henderson play for us on loan from United back in 2016 when we're in the National League North, believe it or not. And I don't know how you say this, but without sounding too harsh, if someone had said back then in 2016 that in 4 years' time this lad will play for England, I would have been very shocked indeed, should we say. So it was great that he'd come on so much since his loan spell at Stockport. But what a moment for Henderson. And great to see him earn his first cap as well. And it was fully deserved because he was doing well for Man United at the time, and Sheffield United the season before was really good there. So yeah, and a special moment for him. But moving on to the second half, and to be honest, it was like England picked off where they left off. Played really well, high tempo, same intensity. It was great to see. And just 10 minutes into the second half, Bukayo Saka drove into the box and was brought down by an Ireland defender. It was a clear and obvious penalty, and it gave England an opportunity to extend their lead further. And obviously Harry Kane's not playing, so it meant striker Dominic Calvert-Lewin stepped up from 12 yards and he smashed it into the net for his second England goal, making it 3-0, making absolutely no mistake. And he was continuing what had been a brilliant season for him at Everton in the Premier League. I think to already have 2 England goals to his name when it was only his 4th time wearing the shirt was really impressive. So yeah, nice for Calvert-Lewin to get another goal. If I'm honest, after Calvert-Lewin scored the third, the game sort of slowed down in a way. Southgate made a few changes as well. And it almost became like a training session because Ireland were not really offering anything going forward. But one of the players that he brought on was Jude Bellingham. Yes, that's right. The first time Bellingham played for England, and it was in this game number 47 of the Southgate era, believe it or not. He came on for Mason Mount in midfield. Yeah, just 17 years of age and 4 months was Bellingham, and he became the third youngest player to play for England at the time of this game. And he was someone who Southgate and the whole FA system had found talent in at a very early age. So for him to finally make his England debut was great, and also credit to Southgate because he was clearly not afraid of putting a young player in there, and it showed that his vision of youth development and bringing players through the youth system was clearly working. So yeah, a special moment for Bellingham. And also Ainsley Maitland-Niles and Phil Foden also came on, given another opportunity to impress. And also Tammy Abraham also made his first appearance in quite a while, so that was nice as well. But after these substitutions, it was most about seeing what they could do with the inexperience we had on the pitch. I mean, England created a few half chances, but nothing major really worth noting. But overall, it was a fantastic night at Wembley. Comfortable win. Players were given opportunities and took them as well. A clean sheet with involving 2 goalkeepers as well. So we got to see what they were both like. But I think the big positives to take were the performances of Grealish and Saka. Grealish in particular got man of the match, rightly so. But Saka as well, another solid display in a position that was not his natural, showing versatility and confidence at a really young age. So for Southgate, it was exactly what he would have wanted from a friendly. And it certainly gave him a lot to think about in a positive way. But that wraps up this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. A much more positive one compared to the Denmark game in my last episode. And it was almost nice to reflect on a comfortable win this time rather than a 1-0 defeat. But next up, it's back to the Nations League, and England played Belgium once again, this time away from home. And that's what I'll be covering in the next episode, so keep an eye out for that one coming next week, all being well. So thank you for listening to this episode. Again, always is appreciated. Until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon.